Hi everyone, Daniel here. Just going to let everybody file in for the next few minutes, okay? So we'll probably start in a little while once the numbers have bumped up a little bit, okay? Cool. Shall be back on about 5 past, hopefully.
You go back to slide 6 in the same summary. GG complaints from complaints.
Hello everybody. We'll just begin in just a few moments then, okay? Just let me have a quick check of things first. Okay, just a quick note about the quorum. We do not at this time have quorum. So we can delay for a few moments or for a few minutes. If anybody knows anybody who has not come along tonight or who is struggling to join, please let them know that we would greatly appreciate their presence if we possibly could have them. And yeah, we'll just wait a few more minutes so that we make up to the quorum. It should happen in the next few minutes. We're not far off it. Just a few more minutes, okay? We are just I think about 1 or 2 people off quorum just now by the looks of it. We might just be over it now, actually. But if you have anybody else who's coming along tonight, do please get them to join in quite soon. Also, it's rather hot in here. Going quite red. Okay. We currently do not have quorum. However, we don't actually have anything that we are to approve. And we also have a guest tonight. So we are probably just going to carry on as things are, and not worry about that too much. As that we obviously have a guest speaker to come in tonight and some updates to give to the councillors. But we don't actually have anything to vote on, so no votes will require a quorum. If everybody's okay with that, then we'll begin in just a minute. We are only 1 off, so it's not a million miles away. Okay. Okay, then we'll begin. Okay, so general housekeeping. So welcome to the February Student Council, everybody. Nice to see everybody again. Hopefully we'll have a nice time tonight. We'll get through this rather quickly. As I said, we do have a guest, but before we begin all that, I'm hoping that all councillors can join me in hoping for a quick resolution to the violence that we've seen in Ukraine today. Just a quick note that hopefully this can come to a resolution quickly. Okay, so with that out the way, let's begin. Okay, so first of all, I don't believe the recording started yet, but it will probably in the next few moments. Do remember, please, when you're speaking on things, you are, of course, being recorded, so just generally watch what you say. Do try to be polite and everything like that, of course, as usual. The recording has just started now, so if you do wish to speak, make sure that it's something that you would be okay with it being recorded, as always, okay? All the usual type of things there, just generally be polite, please. Okay, apologies. Let me just bring up the apologies. We have apologies from Sophie, Flora, David, Heather, and Brian. Okay, so we have five apologies today. Okay. Good. Right, okay, as I mentioned, we do have a guest who is going to be joining us tonight and will be giving a talk with us, and I believe doing a Q&A session in just a few moments, actually. We're going to start with that more or less. And that is Matt Crilly, who is the president of NUS Scotland, and I believe I got that pronunciation correct. Okay, so he'll be talking with us in just a moment. But first of all, we have the Sabbatical Officer Elections update, which I believe will be with Andre. I believe this is with Andre.
I will try to keep things brief. My name is Andre Kuchar. I'm the Vice President for Education, and this year also the Chair of the elections. So just to update you on the progress of elections, we have closed the nominations last Friday, and tomorrow we have a manifesto deadline. So by tomorrow evening, we should have a rough number of how many people are running in each position, and then all of the candidates will be announced on a Monday, and next week will be online campaigning for all of the candidates, and the following week we will have physical campaigning, so you will get to see them probably on campus and everywhere about. And next Tuesday and Thursday, I believe we will be hosting debates as well, so keep tuned. We will be splitting them into two. So one of them will be, I believe, student president and welfare, and the other three positions will be held on the Thursday. And just to say, we have had so far higher number of candidates than we usually do, and so far all of the positions are contested, which is really good. And we also have really high diversity of the candidates from both where they come from, but also about what mode or level of study they're from. So we have a bunch of people who are not final year undergraduates, but we have lower year ones as well as postgraduate taught and postgraduate research students in quite large numbers this year. So I'm quite happy about it, and we're going to be really excited to announce all of the candidates that are going to be running next Monday. And I must say that our colleagues in ELSA have been providing exceptional support and one-to-one meetings with all of them to help them figure out their manifestos and how to campaign and all of that. So I think they're finding it easier than ever before to actually campaign in our sabbatical election. So the voting, just to say, will be open between 8th and 10th of March. So please make sure you vote. I don't think there's going to be another council until then. So if anybody has any questions, you can always ask me here or send me an email to alsaeducation@abdn.ac.uk, or if you have an elections inquiry, you can send that to elections@abdn.ac.uk. So if there's any questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, I'll hand back to Daniel.
Thank you, Andre. Any questions for the Vice President for Education regarding the elections update? Anything from anybody? Looks like you're off the hook. Okay then. Thank you very much for that, Andre. Just making sure that there's no final questions. Okay. Regarding the vote for the minutes for the last meeting, we're going to distribute the vote for that probably via email or some other method, just so that we can have the updates that need to be done going through tonight. So we're just going to carry on as normal, but all voting and all things that would have required a full quorum will be sent out so that all the councillors can have their say on it in the proper fashion. Okay, so with that said, we now have the Q&A session and the talk from Matt Crilly, who is here from NUS. He is the president of NUS Scotland. And there you are, Matt. I'll hand over to you.
Hey folks, can you hear me okay? Is it okay? I'm in the office on a pretty strange setup. My phone is on top of a box. But yeah, thank you so much for having me along today. Apologies if I'm a little bit flat. I started off today in London and I'm now in Aberdeen, and I'm going to be travelling again after this as well. So travelling the country, very tired, but hopefully bringing a bit of energy to your meeting. So yeah, thank you so much for having me along today. My name's Matt Crilly. I'm the president of the National Union of Students Scotland, and in case you don't know, NUS Scotland is a federation of over 30 student unions in Scotland, and we also are part of the wider NUS UK. But it's where OUSA comes together with Edinburgh Uni and Strathclyde and
You've gone a bit quiet there, Matt, sorry. The audio seems to be... Is that muted or what's going on there?
No religions, and it'll change. Do you know what I do? Hold on. 2 seconds.
Hi folks, student president speaking. I'm gonna let Matt come on via my account just because that seems to be the more stable option than his phone. So give us a minute to figure that out, and he's gonna appear with my name tag.
Very well, sounds like a pragmatic solution. Okay. Okay, we'll give them a second to work that out. Yeah, so as I say, the only voting session for tonight, as in the approval of the minutes, obviously that's one that is regularly approved and we'll need to make sure that there's no amendments to make it. But as it is something that will need to be approved, we'll send that out to all of the various councillors via email and deal with it that way. Okay?
Hello, sorry.
Yeah, good.
Sorry about that. But yeah, thank you so much for having me along today. I think, as I was saying at the end there, is the National Union of Students Scotland is a federation of over 30 student associations across Scotland. So it's where OUSA comes together with Strathclyde and Edinburgh universities or North East Scotland College and stuff like that. Is where we come together collectively and try and work out as student unions in Scotland what we want to campaign on nationally. I guess tonight it might be helpful for me to provide a couple of national updates on things that are going on at this very minute. So we've of course been working really closely with the Scottish Government about what is the future of restrictions on campuses and stuff like that. And we'll have seen with the First Minister's statement in the last few days that about the kind of gradually opening up of Scottish society and stuff like that. And education, we're trying to make sure education is kind of part of that, whilst making sure that students who don't feel safe can perhaps access learning remotely and stuff like that as well. So try to find that thing. But yeah, we're trying to work for really parity for education, because I think it's fair to say that we've been under perhaps different rules compared to the rest of society. I guess another couple of big things maybe to spotlight at the moment is this week the National Union of Students, we published a big piece of research into student poverty in Scotland. Oh, you okay, Elisa? Was the microphone? Was it not working?
No, okay.
Is the camera working? Can you see me, Daniel?
The camera is not on, but the microphone is working perfectly.
Oh.
It's on and off, right? Like the mic.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Can you only hear me? Oh my god, you can't see my beautiful, handsome face. What are you going to do? What should we do? Are we okay? Well, I'll just continue. We'll try and work something out. I guess it's also worth saying that this week, the National Union of Students, we've published research into essentially student financial life in Scotland, and we found some really stark stuff. So 12% of students in Scotland just now have been homeless, have experienced homelessness due to financial pressures. Our research has found that a third of students in Scotland have considered dropping out of uni or college because they don't have enough money to survive, and 8% of students have relied on food banks. So we are particularly concerned about the financial position in Scotland. The government this week, the Scottish Government, have responded by offering some additional money. So we've got some extra money from them this week, £5 million in additional hardship discretionary money. Which we're glad that we've got, but we want to see some more longer lasting changes. So one of the big things that we want to do as a National Union of Students just now is try and collectively, as student unions in Scotland, I think now's the time for us to push to win summer support for students. I think it's gone on too long that students aren't financially supported over the summer. It's something that the government, we had the First Minister of Scotland at NUS's election hustings last year said that she backed summer support for students based on grants, not loans. She said she backed that in principle. So that's what we intend to hold the First Minister to, and what we're going to try and campaign and win for this year. So they're I guess a couple of the big things. There's lots of other stuff that we're working on just now, but I'll maybe kind of stop so that questions and answers and stuff like that can come in.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Matt. Definitely good updates. Yeah. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or any concerns or comments or anything like that to raise with the president here? The NUS president, not the student president. Okay, Samuel.
Hi, sorry. Hi, President of NUS Scotland. Could you remind me of your name? Sorry.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Hi, Matt. Sorry, this is just a question. I just wondered what definition of homelessness you use, because that seems very high, 12%. Obviously, with students being away from parents or anyone supporting them, that maybe gets more complicated. But I just wondered why that was so high, that 12% figure.
It's a good question, Samuel. Thanks for asking it. So the definition of homelessness we've used has gone without a home and has not had a permanent place to stay. So that does include things like people who have been evicted and have had to couch surf with friends and stuff like that. And that does fit into wider definitions of homelessness. Some of the really concerning stuff though is that figure. It's actually, this research really correlates with other research that's been done over the last few years. So it's not an outlier, but the figure actually rises to a third of students when we're considering students, particularly from care experienced and estranged student background. So those that are estranged from their families or from a care experienced background. So the stats are really concerning. And that's
okay. That's cool. That's helpful. But I do, just from my experience of being in uni and things, although I'm not questioning the the issues that may be going on there that's reflected in that 12% figure. It just seems really high. That's all. It just seems from my general experience. But obviously there's some issues there that are raised, and that's really helpful. Thank you. So
sure.
Thanks. Yeah. Cheers.
Worth saying some of the other stats are like 2/3 of students have had challenges to their mental health, again, as a result of like the pressure of being a student and actually trying to have enough money to survive, but also be able to take part in studies. That's just another thing. But thanks for your question, Samuel.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Samuel. Very nice. Okay, so do we have any further questions, anything else to ask, or any comments about any of the updates or anything along those lines? Let me just, okay. Do please raise your hand or put something in chat if you don't wish to do that, just to let me know. Anthony.
Hi, this is Anthony, Vice Chair of the Communities Committee. Is it okay to ask a question about the NUS which isn't directly related to this report?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Cool, thanks a lot. So for most final year students, they're going to be getting the National Student Survey in their emails, or they'll already have received it. As Matt will know, the UCU is quite strongly opposed to the NSS because they say that it marketizes university education and acts as a way for universities to cut courses and staff. So I was wondering what the UCU's policy is on that, and does it think that Student Association should also oppose the NSS? Thanks.
Good question, Anthony. The NSS has actually not featured too much in national politics in recent years. It was a massive discussion that we had together as student unions a few years ago. I think it is fair to say that the NSS, I don't think it's the best way that we can, as students in particular, perhaps like better our education system. I'm not sure it has the best way of doing that. So, for example, we know from the NSS surveys, for example, there's lots of biases that end up being replicated in it, and it ends up furthering inequalities that we see in our society. So, for example, black and brown staff tend to be marked down at higher levels than white staff, and different things like that bear out. And I guess it's contributed to a quite overbearing management culture sometimes. And I guess they're looking maybe at metrics rather than like how we feel as students. But it's an interesting thing. I know before my time, the student movement nationally, there were questions about a potential NSS boycott. I know that's been taken up by some student unions. Some student unions, though, do promote the NSS. It really is a kind of mixed bag in the UK at the minute. Some of the key things about marketisation in it that the UCU raise is about the fact that there was a rationale built in England whereby better rated courses could charge higher fees, or they were getting to a point where they could use that to charge higher fees. That wasn't necessarily replicated to the same extent in Scotland, this system. So it's slightly different. My personal view is that I think there's probably better ways for us to improve education rather than the NSS. And I think it would be interesting actually for the likes of us in this call to and OUSA and stuff like that to work out like what is actually the best ways for us to improve our education. Because I think there's loads of things that we really do need to be thinking about, like what is the future of online education versus in-person education, for example. Like these, I think, are big questions that a kind of tick box survey won't get to the heart of like what we want to see from our education system and how best to improve it. But I hope that answers the question.
That was a very full answer. Thanks very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay. we have a comment here from the Vice President for Education. Do you want to come on and discuss this, Andre, or do you want me to read this out?
No, it was just to follow up on that comment from Anthony, that and from Matt, that NSS and the marketization of that is mostly due to the TEF framework that we're not part of as the University of Aberdeen for about 5 or 6 years now. So we haven't been using that part of it for a really long time, while most of the other Scottish institutions are still doing it, although not in the way that Matt described it's happening in England.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, then, I think we'll put that particular matter to rest for now. Does anybody have any questions or anything else like that for the NUS president at this time, or any comments or anything like that? Okay, if you do, please just raise your hand, or if not, you can just stick it in the chat as well. Okay, it looks like there are no other questions on the matter then. Well, we know that you're busy, Matt, so you'll probably be. Sorry?
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut in there. Yeah, I've got a train. I think I've got a train back down tonight. So, but thank you so much for having me. And genuinely, if there is anything that we can help out with at any time, I mean, I'm sitting across from some of your wonderful officers just now, but we're in touch all the time. But if there is anything that we actually do need to pick up on a national level and, you know, really need to campaign on just now, there's loads of stuff that we're doing, obviously, which I haven't chatted about. But we're just trying to do our best just now. But yeah, if there's anything at all, please do reach out to me or reach out to OUSA and stuff like that to get in touch with me as well. So, but yeah, thanks so much for having me, and best of luck with the rest of your meeting.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we shall carry on then. Next on the agenda, we have the graduation update, which I think is coming from the Vice President for Communities, if I've got that right.
Yeah, hi everyone, Camilo, Vice President for Communities. So we wanted to bring, just an update on what's going on with graduations, and also we want to get some feedback and some ideas from you to make sure that they are the best that we can get. So in general, I don't know if everyone knows, but there are some works and some improvement planned for several parts of the university, including Elphinstone Hall and other areas that are usually used for graduations. So it is kind of like set on stone that we're going to continue having TECA as the place for graduations, not like where the last ones were held, and the distancing and all that, and even the size, the number of students graduating, like we're probably going to be there for the next 2 years. So we want, so we've been thinking on kind of like demands for the university or things we want to make sure they are going to provide. So this is still a good experience for all of us, because we think that, of course, one of the things that you think when you sign up for an ancient university like Aberdeen is, graduating in a very ancient and Pinterest building and kind of like taking photos in the lawn and, all these kind of like traditions. So we won't want to lose any of that. In that sense, we have, kind of like some ideas or demands that we're going to bring, or that we're already negotiation or working with the university to make sure that the graduation is a good experience. We want it to be kind of like free, no, in terms of money. We want it to be free, accessible, fun, and also that it continues with kind of like the tradition that that usually brings for all of the students. So the first thing we thought about is we are demanding that the university has continuous transport between the campus and TECA. If you don't know where TECA is, it's near the airport, so it's very different, especially for the students that bring their families and they've never been in the city. So it's a lot easier to arrive to the city if you to the university than to TECA, which is not very accessible if you don't have a car. So we want to ensure there's transport. We want to ensure that the university is going to work and think about replicating, the usual traditions that come with graduations. We're also thinking about access to gowns, because there's been it's a more complicated process because TECA is so it's apart from the university, so there are some practicalities there that need to be fixed by the university. The same about photographies and photos in King's campus, the lawn and everything. That we want this to still be available and easy for everyone. And so the King's Chapel and another important part of the university should still be available for photos. We also think there needs to be a refreshment on the university anyway, even if the graduations are TECA, people are going to still visit the campus for photos and for the tradition, and well, other kind of practicalities like parking area and stuff like this. And we also about the grad ball that is usually held on Elphinstone. So we want to demand the university to have a suitable option for this, because we think that's part of the tradition and we don't want to lose all of that. So those are some of the ideas. We have a bit more, or I can answer questions about the details of them, but it was an update, but also a question for the people here. What things do you think we can improve or ask the university to improve and change to make sure graduations are as good as they can be in TECA? Yeah, so that's all for me now, and I'm happy to answer questions, and we'll be paying attention to any questions or suggestions to improve graduations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Camilo. Okay, does anybody have any questions for the Vice President at this time regarding the graduations update? Or any comments or anything like that? Either stick your hand up or put something in the chat. Yeah, Anthony.
Hi, Anthony, Vice Chair of the Communities Committee. Just wondering if there'd been any response from the university regarding this yet, or if it's just in the early stages of letting them know that this is what we'd like done. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. All this has been discussed because some of these things... sorry, I think Adam wants to come in, but I'll just say that many of these have been already discussed because we tried to have this for the previous graduations already. Some of these concerns have been raised before, so we want to make sure this time they provide everything we're asking for. But most of this is already being negotiated or have been raised to them, and we just want your support and also your ideas to continue with this. I don't know if Adam wants to come in.
No, sorry, I accidentally pressed the hand up, sorted, but you answered that fine anyway. Sorry.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Camilo, or is that all okay?
That's another question in the chat.
Okay, question from the chat then. Sorry, I just lost that again. Yeah, with regards to COVID, how are you going to ensure the safety of both students and attendees of the graduation, bearing in mind that most come from outside of the UK?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the question, Akua. That's probably one of the main concern for the university. So it's one of the reasons it's going to be held in Tech. So there's a lot more possibilities for distancing and for ventilation and all these things that really help to stop the virus. And I think regarding people coming from outside of the UK, I think there's not much the university can do beyond what the government guidance are. So, in the past, the university had offered, to help people with quarantine, or we have helped students with quarantine kits. I think this kind of thing could still be useful, but I think if the borders are open, I don't think we can do a lot more than have a safe space and make sure that everything in that space is safe for COVID. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Another one from the chat then. I know that the university... Yeah, thanks. I know that the university have sent out a poll to 2020 and 2021 graduates on dates for our postponed graduations. Is there any progress on that and the grad balls for those years? No.
Unless another sub has better information than me, as far as I know, they're going to be held. They're going to be holding another set of graduations for the people that didn't graduate before. But I'm not sure about this one, so I think I'll find out about this. We'll take note. I'll find out about this and then come back to you. We don't know about grad balls for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Just stick your hand up or put something in chat. There doesn't look to be. Okay, well, thanks very much for that, Camillo, and I believe that we'll just move on then. Hopefully everybody's got everything they want to know about that, and we'll move on. Okay, so thanks for that. We're moving on then to the Sabbatical Officer Accountability Session, the work reports, etc., etc., and I believe first up for that is the Vice President for Education, Andre.
I'll have to go in about 5 minutes, so I'll keep it brief because I have not submitted one because I had so many other things going on this month, unfortunately. So some things that are worth updating on was already the election. So unless there's any other questions for that, then I'll just move on to the next ones. Some other big things on the agenda were me and Camillo have gotten to go to a conference about the lives of students and how we can improve them and the overall student experience down in London last week. So it's been really useful to get to know what some other parts of the UK are doing in terms of how they're furthering their own improvement and what kind of areas are they focusing on. So I've taken a lot of the learning, a lot of the resources from that and trying to see how we can implement some of that here. There have been 3 quite big sector-wide committees, and the current big issue is the Teaching Excellence Framework consultation within all of UK, and what does that mean for all universities. So I still have to read up a little bit more about that, but if anybody has any queries and would want to talk to me about TEF in particular, I'd be delighted to speak to any of you. And another big thing was that we have closed our Excellence Awards. So along with the committee, we have kind of ranked everyone between 1 and 3. of how we thought they were good for each category, and I'm happy to say that the top 3 people in each category have been chosen. We've had extraordinary amounts of nominations this year, so thank you for anybody who's nominated any member of staff. It was about 355, I believe, compared to the previous record of about 219, which was the year before. So there has been really a lot of great engagement with students with those, and we're hoping to host a ceremony with the announcement of all of that on the 20th of April, which is going to be during the spring break. So if anybody has any questions about any of that, I'm happy to answer now.
Okay, so any questions for the Vice President for Education? Please put them in chat or put your hand up, and let's try to be quick as he needs to leave in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Maybe I'm off the hook for the day. One thing that I should have also mentioned, we had the first meeting of the class rep task and finish group. So we've had some ideas on how to move that project forward. And on Monday and Tuesday, I've held focus groups with some of our class reps. So I've heard a lot of what they had to say and what they wanted to improve. So once the Dean for Student Support comes back from a leave, we're going to revisit that, and hopefully we will have some plan of action for next year by May.
Okay, very nice then. Well, I don't believe there are any questions for you on this matter, so looks like you're off the hook. Cool, see you later on. Okay, is the student president giving a work report? You are, apparently, yeah.
Is this me next then?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Sorry.
Square though.
Can I just check again? Ivana just alerted me that people can't see me again. I have not sure what's up with Teams today. It was working earlier. Should I just go ahead with a black square?
Unfortunately, it sounds like the best idea to me.
Okay, cool. Alisa Costa, student president here. So as you might have noticed or not noticed, there isn't a written work report from me for the student council. This is due to me being on sick leave for the majority of the time between last council and this council, unfortunately. However, I am back to work in some reduced capacity, which also, if you've sent me an email and I'm taking slightly longer to respond, apologies for that. Feel free to send me a reminder if I haven't gotten to you yet and you feel like I need a little nudge. I would appreciate that. I am back in Aberdeen and I've mainly done some strategic planning. So we've had a strategy planning session with NUS Scotland today. We had our first team day in 2 years with the entire OUSA team yesterday. And the university has a university strategy planning day tomorrow, which I am supposed to attend. So there are some big things going on. Andre is obviously handling the elections for OUSA, but that has been on the background as some candidates have reached out to me to ask for, I'm not going to say support because that's not true. I'm obviously staying neutral, but like to ask for my advice on how I've perceived the role in the past couple of months. Other than that, we are working on launching a couple of campaigns soon. The E&E committee is back together to work on borders campaigns, and we're obviously supporting NUS with all that they are doing. And regarding the question that I got asked last student council about trustee ratification. So we've gone away and looked at this and talked to our student and external trustees to see which ones wish to stay on for a second term. And at least 2 of them do. And as a result, they will be up for ratification as a student, at a future student council meeting. That is also to say that previously all trustees have been ratified at some point, and so we're looking at re-ratifying those who wish to stay on, but that can be done at a future student council. And I hope that sufficiently answers the question from last time. Are there any questions or anything else you would like to know from me today?
Anyone? Looks like you're off the hook as well. Okay then. Shall we have the Vice President for Sport up next then?
Yep, not a problem. Sort of caught me off guard. Usually I'm the last one to go, so just was finishing off eating a plum. Yeah, okay. So Adam Lambert, Vice President for Sport. Yeah, a second, just get up my Word document. Okay, yeah, so just the work report for myself. A couple of highlights then is again, we restarted to give it a kick. Me and Camillo restarted it from the new year. Again, turnouts have been very, very good. We've got a WhatsApp group going there with I think it's 40 plus people, I think, by now, which is quite good. And it's grown. There's more and more people coming to it each week, which is really, really good to see. And we've just finally got our bibs delivered as well. So if anyone actually comes to the five-a-side, it's going to be better now that we'll have bibs to actually differentiate between the teams and stuff. So it will. Also then just assisted with refreshers, some of the events for refreshers. So again, Camillo and I, we both orchestrated and created the big refreshers quiz, which was a super, super fun night. So it was, and again, it was class to see all the different students at all the different events that were being ran throughout the week. So again, I went to the wine yoga, it was quite fun. And the drag bingo was really, really fun as well. For anyone that would have seen, we do the slot drop with one of the drag queens on our Insta. I don't even know if it was on the Insta or not, actually. I think yes. So it was interacting with the students. I then met with the student fund panel, so went through and awarded the House of Student Fund monies there. Some of the money was left over, so we reopened the applications. We again have already went through the reopened applications as well, and money should be granted out for that again from the second round relatively soon. Also then working with RGU around Granite City. So again, the Granite City challenge is going to be set to the 16th of March, and RGU are going to be the hosts of it. Still looking about running some events as well that any sports can take part in, or any students, can take part in that aren't necessarily already involved in Granite City or the competition side in it. So just a wee note that there for Granite City, it'd be absolutely amazing to see some people coming and supporting and watching the sports teams compete. It would be really, really nice, so it would. Then I finally moved forward one of the manifesto points then around parasport. So around increasing the awareness of it and the availability of it through our sports clubs. So the way we're looking about going around that there is essentially making classifications of different disabilities at a basic level, for clubs then to advertise or say they're able to cater to different disabilities. So for example, if someone that has a physical disability that prevents them from walking, the likes of our archery club is more than happy and is fully equipped to deal with anyone in a wheelchair or anything like that there. So they are. So doing that as well. Again, we're still just in the early stage of that. They're just trying to get the right classifications around that as well and seeing what clubs are able to do that. Then finally then is just doing some surveying with students. So again, just wanted to get some feedback with students around the app idea as well, and sort of what we're looking and expecting from apps. And I've had a couple of good ideas brought to me by students as well, from what an app could look like or provide in terms of service. Then just did as well a little bit of surveying around graduations as well with students, sort of get to get a feel of what students want around graduations as well. Been a very busy month this month, but you will have to wait until the next meeting to hear about the work report for February. See as well, but that's January. Thank you. Any questions at all are welcome.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, any questions for the Vice President for Sport? I am sorry that I keep on throwing something out of the room, but the cat is getting at me. Okay, I don't believe that there are any questions for you, Adam, so it looks like you're off the hook as well. Okay, so thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay, could we please have the Vice President for Welfare?
Hello, Ivana Tredakova is the name. I use she and her pronouns. Thank you for the applause. Sorry, I was just said that Adam didn't do it, so I had to do it. Anyway, so my manifesto, what I've been doing for the past month, we launched Find a Flatmate, which was one of my unofficial manifesto points. You can offer a room in your flat, or if you're looking for a room, you can put it into the discussion board and talk to people and meet them and see what works out the best for all of you. I took part in lots of refreshers events. It was loads of fun. We launched a student mental health agreement. We also hosted mental health discussion panel with Aberdeen Student Mental Health Group. We had four student panelists, 2 staff members, and I was the chair. And the students did a very good job on showing the staff on what needs to be improved and what support needs to be provided to students in general. I know there are some following up meetings from that, so we are working with staff to ensure the feedback gets to the right places. And yeah, that's more or less it. Less than more, to be honest, but that's what I've been working on. If you have any questions now, feel free to ask or just send me an email.
Thank you very much, Ivana. Any questions for the Vice President? Anybody? Just put your hand up or stick it in the chat if you would, please. Looks like you're off the hook as well, Ivana. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least, of course, could we please have the Vice President for Communities? Yeah, Vice President for Communities, please.
Hi everyone, Camilo, Vice President for Communities. I just want to say that I'm very excited to see the other SABs updates, and there's a lot of projects that are kind of like compared to the first part of the year. This part of the year when we're finally getting things kind of like finalized. So I'm very excited about that. So from my own work, I just want to highlight lots of events that we led during refreshers. So a lot of them were focused on PGRs, like postgrad students or international students. I think some of them were very successful, and I think we did a lot, kind of like a comparable, like a pretty big refreshers, and I'm very happy about that. I think that's a good thing for students. Another good thing going on is that we recently relaunched our volunteering portal. So I think this is crucial for students' experience, employability, skills development, engagement with local community. So I recommend that you go and visit our portal, our renewed portal for volunteering opportunities. I'll try to put it in the chat if that's okay. Another is we relaunched the short-term bicycle scheme for Mouse. So if you just want to give it a try, cycling, maybe use it a couple of times before committing to buy your own bike, or maybe go to local charities like Bicycle to get a bicycle. this is going to be very useful, even if you need just for the weekend to go on a trip. If you have friends visiting and you have only one bike and you want them to use a bike, there's many options, and I think this is very useful. And so I'm very happy that this is back on and it's for free, of course, and you can ask for a bike for 2 weeks. And yeah, I think it's going to be very useful and to improve transport options for students. I think that we continue kind of like with the work in the projects of the colonized curriculum and the anti-racist university. This is something that has been going for more than a year, but we are kind of like a new phase or a new part of the project where we are starting to come up with more like applied and like practical kind of like solutions or strategies for this. So I'll keep you updated on that. Yeah, I will also say, I mean, Andre already mentioned it, but we were in London, and we listened and we heard a lot of different strategies that they are using in other universities. That's very helpful for us. We also managed to see kind of like the positive things that we have as AUSA and Aberdeen. I think people were impressed about our work with forums. They were impressed. Some of them kind of like were interested in the way we divide work between subs. So I don't know. I think it was kind of like a good opportunity also to see the improvements and also the good things that we're doing here compared to universities that have bigger budget, bigger students' unions, and I don't know, maybe they are more renowned. So I think that was also a good experience. Yeah, that'll be everything from my side for now. Any questions about any of these new kind of like projects? Just let me know.
Thank you very much, Camilo. Okay, does anybody have any questions, comments, or have any other such? Does anybody have any questions or comments for the Vice President for Communities there? Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, good. With that finished up then, that is the end of the Sabbatical Officer Accountability session. We only have a question if the forums or committees, any of them have any updates that they would like to give. Please make yourself known now if you do. If you're the leader of a forum or a committee and you want to give an update, please let me know now. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, okay. And that is the end of the business for this meeting. Does anybody have anything else to bring up at this time? Any other competent business? Anything else to discuss or that needs to be discussed at this time? Nothing. Okay. All right. Okay then. We'll probably just leave the meeting there then, as there's nothing else to discuss. I'll reiterate once again that the vote for the minutes will be distributed to the council members. Okay, so there will be a proper vote held on that. But since there was nothing else to vote on, we just decided to carry on with the updates at this particular meeting. Okay.